On today's episode, we're going to do mostly personal updates and then a little bit of business as well. So I'm excited for this one. Let's do it. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Before we start today's episode, I'd love to highlight our show sponsor, Jane. Jane app is a clinic management software and EMR designed to help practitioners grow and manage their clinics. They do this with the helpful features like online booking, scheduling, billing, and documentation, and they are the best, let me tell you. Whether you're working solo or in a large multidisciplinary clinic, no-shows and late cancellations are something that every practitioner faces, and they can be super frustrating. Jane offers several tools to help you prevent and manage those no-shows, including the ability to save a credit card on file and send out automated SMS and email reminders, and they are truly a game changer. Learn more about Jane's helpful features at jane.app/payments. Listeners can also include a code LEX1MO. Again, it's LEX1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your Jane account. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am really excited. My mic is so loud right now. I'm going to turn the volume down. All right, there we go. So, welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit like, I'm going to call it squirrel brain. I have a list of things that I want to talk about. Most are definitely personal life updates about me, some other things and announcements and what have you. So if you like these types of episodes, cool. You're probably not going to get a ton of tactical business stuff today, but I also love to mix these episodes in as well. So going to just run through the list that I have and hopefully you enjoy it. And if you do, I would honestly love to hear from it. I hear from you. I feel like the last thing that I have on my list, you're going to really like. So if you want to skip ahead, you can see what I talk about in the show notes. You can skip ahead to the last thing, but I would love if you stayed and listened. So number one, I'm going to start right off with this. The only big business update that I have is that I am running the spring cleaning website audit challenge on May 5th through May 12th. If you register by May 4th, you save $50. So it's $47. It's going to live on my website at $97. And I'll be completely honest with you, it's going to become a mini course. There is so much stuff inside of it that every single time I go to finalize the content, I'm like, oh my God, I have to add this. So, with that being said, I also have to say that hearing that out loud, you're probably like, well, why would I want to do it? I'll never complete it. The thing is the stuff that is completed, so stuff that needs to be completed to win the challenge is one thing. The education around it is another thing. So I'm giving you a very tactical, easy list to complete so that you can actually do the challenge during the time that's allotted, but then also giving you a lot of stuff that you can return back to continue to educate yourself and learn more, and also have an organized, layout of my Instagram content in regards to websites. I'm really excited for it. It's something that I do think is really, really nice because it's a lower price point for folks who have wanted to work with me and don't have a place to start if they don't want to buy my existing courses or don't have a need for my existing courses. And I do feel like, in my opinion, the website audit needs to be done by the business owner first, even if I were to complete an audit for you. As a business owner, how your business has changed, and it's literally impossible for someone else, regardless of who you are, a trained copywriter, a trained website designer, a trained SEO expert, it doesn't matter. The person who is owning the business has to do the audit first. So this will help you go through that audit process and really, get into the nitty-gritty of things. So if you're interested, I'll put the link to enroll as well as the info page, what have you, in the show notes. Check it out. Like I said, $47. It's on sale, so it will go up to $97 on May 5th, and it will just live on my website for, evergreen. I'll probably promote it every once in a while, but this will be the only time that it's a challenge and you have a chance to win a Q&A call with me. So I do think it'll be really great. I think it'll be super fun. The people who have enrolled so far, I'm so excited for them. Some folks I know, some folks are not familiar to me, and I'm so excited to welcome them into, my community. So thank you so much if you've registered already. I cannot wait to start. So like I said, that's like my only big business update. The rest of it is going to be fun life stuff, background stuff, what have you, that were kind of inspired. I was inspired by a coaching call that I was on, and I had been talking about my parents, and she was like, I had no idea that that's where you came from. So I'm just going to go through like some life stuff, some background stuff, and what have you. But yes, it's been a long time since I've recorded. I actually think it's been 3 weeks because I pre-recorded episodes for the last 2 weeks. So it's been a bit. So I really haven't been on the mic in a couple weeks, but I'm excited to be here today. My parents came last week from Thursday to Monday. We had a great time. Shantae and I have a very, I'm going to say like structured schedule. Like we have a morning routine, we have work hours, and then we have after work hours. And, our mornings are very slow. Everything is pretty easy. Like we strategically set things up and schedule our calls and do things in a certain way in order to create, a sense of ease and slowness and just, I'm going to say overall joy and happiness throughout our entire week. So I loved being able to introduce my parents to that. I know that my mom and my dad are both used to the get up and then rush out the door to work. And it was nice to not have to do that with them for the 4 days that they were here and to show them, this is how, we do things daily. And I think they really enjoyed it. And we were able to share all of our favorite things with them. We went on a beach walk on the Strand. We went to Becker's Cookies to get our Sunday Daisy cookies. We went to Bonaparte Bistro where we have Friday night date night every night. We took them, where else did we take them for dinner? We took them somewhere else for dinner. We went out to lunch for tacos, which were really good. We had never eaten at that place before, and it was really good. Shantae cooked steak one night. We had a great time. I had a really great time, and I cooked a full breakfast both mornings that we were here. They saw us play volleyball. It was just so good to share it with them. And Moose was ridiculous. Dogs know who people are. We've seen all the videos, of owners being separated from dogs and dog owners who are in the service, and they go, on, they get deployed and they come home and their owners know them, or their dog knows them. We know that they know people. She knew my parents, and I can tell you that she was just so happy to see them. It was the cutest thing in the world. So also very, very happy that she was able to see them again. It's been almost a year since she's seen them. So it was so great. And, I will also say, and I'll touch base on this in later on in the episode, but it was also so good to just hear my parents say multiple times out loud, how good it was to see how happy I am and how happy Shantae and I are. And it hits different, when your parents say things. I know that to be true. I feel that to be true. And they've said that before, but when they come and visit and they're in your space and, that's something that they focused on a lot. And it felt really, really good. And it's just the best. It's honestly the best. And, makes me feel all the feels. With that, let's move on. We're going to talk about Moose and Rupert a little bit here. So Moose and Rupert, because my parents came, right? So Rupert has his own bedroom, which is also our guest bedroom. So when my parents were here, Rupert was not in his room as much, even though he did come out. He hung out with my parents. My mom was able to pet him. My dad pet him. So he did really, really good. Because usually he's a little bit afraid and he'll hide. But we took the gate. So we have a gate that usually resides between the guest bedroom and the hallway because we put Rupert's food on the floor in there. That's where his food is because Moose will eat his food. So we have to make sure his food is protected. Well, Shantae moved the gate to the spare, it's like a half bath that we have downstairs. And she moved his food in there and put the gate there as well. So we've kept the gate there over the last week and it's been pretty good. I will say Moose is still up in Rupert's business way too much. And she definitely is way too aggressive as far as like she wants to play. So she just thinks that, towering over him is her inviting him to play. And really it's just terrifying and annoying him. But it seems to me like kind of like, a stimulus is when it's a new stimulus, you want to make sure you learn all about it. You want to, see all the things. For me, it feels like because the gate is no longer blocking her from getting to quote unquote getting to Rupert or being in his space all day, it's like she's losing interest and, not fully. I will not say that they are best friends and they're walking around the house, but I will say that we are seeing them more often than not, not hiding and interacting. And, Rupert lays out in the living room. He was laying on the chest on the blanket the other night and, she's right there. So it's been really, really good. I can't complain. It once again has not been a year yet, but if I were to put up a video from, July of 2023, there's been a lot of progress. And if you're someone who has seen the full ride of Rupert and Moose, you would definitely understand that. It's definitely been a journey and it's been fine. It's just, when you mix a huge dog with a cat that is, a little bit afraid to begin with, and then, is also very active and wants to play all the time, it can be a little difficult. So to be expected, but huge, huge progress. I'm like looking at my list. I'm like, what do I want to talk about next? I'll just talk about it now. So logo updates. I had said no business stuff. Logo updates still. The logo is finalized. My new logo is finalized, but I don't have the files yet. So going to be posting about that hopefully next week and sharing that person that I worked with. I will say that most designers and what have you that I talked with. Now, granted, I didn't talk with everyone that is possible, but I already have colors. I already have my fonts. I don't need to go through my mission and vision and who I help and what I want them to feel when they look at my logo. Like I had a general idea of exactly what I wanted. And I had a whole, mood board, what have you. And I understand there's a process for a reason. I'm going to respect the process. So for my questionnaire, like when I was talking to people and interviewing them to see if they were a good fit, I had said like, I know that you have a process and I understand that this, finding out the mission, the vision, etc. is part of your process. I already have that. I can give that to you. Are you able to just make the logo part, like just doing the design? And this person was so kind, so generous, and she did, and I loved working with her. So I'm going to share who that was once I get the stuff, and I will give you her information as well if you need something for logo design. All right, so let's see. I also want to talk about a show that we're currently watching. So we're currently watching a show called Killing Eve, and it's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. It's very engaging, and the writing on it is very good. The main character, Villanelle, her character is so funny, and I say funny. It's basically a show about she's an assassin, so it's not like it's like comedy. But her character is so well written and I really, really enjoy it. And I've only fallen asleep to like 3 episodes and it's when it's late. So that's good news for me. If you follow Shantae, you know that I'm always sleeping. But I haven't fallen asleep to a lot of the episodes and that's pretty good. So that means it's very interesting and I like it. So I would recommend it if you're looking for a new series. Next, I'm going to jump into my jumping program. Okay. So not jumping program. I have started. So basically, long story short is I had a neck problem. So if you have listened to episodes in the past, you know that I went through a little bit of like a neck pain after diving in volleyball, basically a concussion, low grade concussion. Haven't had a lot of neck pain recently at all. And my head has been fine and volleyball has been fine. But what's been annoying me is that I'm slow. So I will tell you that I was never, I was a point guard in basketball. I was a pitcher in softball, and I played outside for indoor volleyball. The sport that required me to run was obviously basketball. I was never like, I'm tall, right? So I'm tall. I have lanky limbs, and I will never say that I was quick. I mean, I was okay. I wasn't slow, but I wasn't like the quickest person, right? So I was a point guard, so I had to do something with my speed. I had to be somewhat fast, but I will say like on the level of reaction time, I think I struggled most in softball because I couldn't really hit well. So anyway, with that being said, I am getting annoyed that I'm not getting 2 balls on the beach and being slow, and I just don't like being slow, and I don't want to be slow. And I feel like if I'm able to get faster or quicker, I can then, and have better reaction time, I can then not dive as much and then potentially save my neck, because we all know I'm not going to do neck exercises every day. So I kind of want to fix the root of the problem. Yes, sure, my neck is probably weak as hell, but also I want to just be faster and like get to the ball quicker. So have been doing plus plyos. So if you're not familiar with plus plyos, Shantae introduced me to plus plyos. I will link it in the show notes, but Matt, I will not pronounce his last name correctly, but Matt M. He has a program that is it's for plyometric training, but obviously plyometric training can also make you quicker. So doing that. And then I've also incorporated a little bit of like the quick feet type of drills, if you will, a couple times a week. I also bought, and I still don't know how to use it. I'm saying this like knowing it sounds stupid, but the skills training has a reaction ball, and I have not used it yet, but also bought one of those because maybe I will do that. In my mind, I want to buy that light thing. I can't think of what the heck it's called off the top of my head. The name is escaping me. I would love to buy one of those light systems where you can like improve your reaction time by, pushing the light that lights up, but they're kind of expensive. So I haven't really decided that I want to do that yet, just because like it's a lot of money. It's like $250 for 4 lights. I'm like, do I really need that? So anyway, working on getting faster. If you haven't checked out Plus Plyos, check it out. Like I said, Shantae introduced me to Matt and his program Plus Plyos, and I really enjoyed it. I will say that I underestimated plyometric training, and even the smallest amount of it makes you sore. And I am following the dosage. I am the classic person who's like, it says 10 reps, I'm going to do 12. And I have not been doing that. I've been following the correct dosage, and I am so sore. I think I was sore for like 5 days after the first round. Given I'm also not doing, strict, I'm not jumping all the time. This is all new, and a lot of it's single leg, what have you. So it's just all been new, and my body is loving it, but also very sore. So beware. All right, wrap that up. That's a little section. Like I said, this one's going to be like squirrel brain. I'm going topic to topic to topic. I'm not trying to give you some, profound story here. I already talked about my logo. Next, I also want to say that I had the opportunity to present for Pelvic Floor University. Sarah Reardon and Jess Rayel own Pelvic Floor University, and I did a presentation for them on website design, SEO, and just elevating your online presence as a pelvic rehab professional. Realistically, you can extrapolate and say, okay, I'm not a pelvic professional, but this applies to me. They have a recording of that. And then I'm also going to be likely recording my own for a non-pelvic PT. So I'm going to record a presentation along the same lines for non-pelvic pros, because obviously I want it to be more applicable to everyone. Their audience is all pelvic PTs, so going to hopefully record that soon. So keep your eye out. But if not, if you're a pelvic rehab pro, feel free to go check out Pelvic Floor University, my course there. The recording is available, and you get all the things that the folks who were live received as well. Let's see. Okay. Two more things, and then I'll talk about a little bit of background stuff. So this weekend, really excited. Shantae and I are going to Vegas to see Garth Brooks. We bought these tickets last summer at some point, and we're going tomorrow night. I'm recording this on Friday, so we're going tomorrow night. On Monday, when you hear this, we'll probably be on our way home. But we're going to see Garth Brooks. Super, super excited, and we have really, really good seats. So, and also Vegas is like, it's Vegas, it's fun, but we have dinner plans and concert plans. Other than that, hopefully just hanging out. So really excited for that. Such a random, I'm just like, this literally feels like squirrel brain, but I also don't care because I know that these life updates are also fun. 2 more things for you. 2 more things. The last one's going to be kind of long, but anyway, I want to I'm going to put links to two things about the article and YouTube video that I'm talking about. But yesterday, I was on Instagram, and I have been following Sophia Bush for, ever. I was obsessed with her character on One Tree Hill. And by obsessed, I just mean like I really loved that show, and I liked her character on the show, and I really think she's a great actress. And so I hadn't been following her on Instagram, but I would see her stuff every once in a while, if you would, in like my Explore feed. But back in probably December-ish, I started following her because she went through like a similar situation that I did. And in that moment, I am the last person, like I'm not a celebrity person. So, people are like, I don't even know if you put Kim K, Courtney, and I don't even know the sister's name. If you put them all in a line, I could not tell you who was who. Like, I don't follow celebrity stuff. I really don't. And it's not because I don't like them. It's not because I have like an issue or I don't, respect them, whatever. I just don't, I don't follow celebrity lives. I hear about things. I don't know celebrity names very well, like, actors, actresses. I know very little about most celebrity people. So I'm not like in it, if you will. So when I had originally read about Sophia Bush and I'm going to say rumors that were going around, I knew that she had went through a similar situation that I did. I knew that, she had come out, and it wasn't public because it wasn't on her stuff, but people were saying it online. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate, because, you can read the article that I'm going to put on here, to get her perspective on that. But anyway, yesterday I was on Instagram and I saw that she did an interview with, now it's escaping me. What was the act? Glamour. It was Glamour magazine. And her whole interview, I will just I have not gone into detail on things I don't want to. I have no need to. I don't feel like I owe anybody anything, but I will say that reading her article, she did a very, very good job. It was amazing. I will say that I felt all the feels reading it. I felt the feels watching the interview. And I will just say that if you have the time to read that and listen to that, my request is just to say, I'm not asking for anybody to understand or say anything or what have you, but what I want to say about it is that she's not alone in the experience that she had. And, like I said, I have not said anything. Everything has been very, life is life. And also I don't feel like I owe anyone anything. But I will say reading that, I just felt like someone was taking the words that I could never find and putting them to paper and saying them. And it was just kind of very telling for me, and telling in a way that I'm like, yes, these are all the things that I've thought about and I just can't have the words for. So I'm very happy that she had the courage to go through with that interview. Because that's a very, very, it's a very public interview, and it's a very in-depth personal interview. So for her to have the courage to go through that, I am very grateful that she did, because, she likely knows that other people can relate very, very, very deeply to what she had written and said, and me, one of them. So I am just, like I said, I'll put the links there. I'm not going to go into detail about more of it, but the article was just very, very, very well done. And the video also is very, very well done. And I'm just super appreciative that she had the courage to, speak her truth and, also just confront things that, most people, i.e. myself and others who have been in similar situations, have not. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. I know that, like I said, I'm not here to go into detail. That's not my nope, I'm all set. But it's one of those things where I will share the things that I can relate to, because I know that I'm also not alone, and I know that other people could benefit from that share if they hadn't seen it already. So I recommend you read it. It's very enlightening. It's very, very down to earth. It's very, very, just gives you a perspective. It gives you a perspective and maybe a different perspective to consider. So that's all I have to say about that. And thank you to Sophia Bush. I appreciate you. Lastly, okay, this is going to be the fun one. So I'm just going to give a shout out to my client, Sarah. So when I'm going to go into background on my life now. I should probably, give this a little bit of an introduction. I'm going to try to keep it below 5 minutes because we're almost at 30 minutes. I don't like to go over 30 minutes. Sarah had asked me about my childhood and like my upbringing, and I don't recall what brought it up, but I was like, I should probably share this on the podcast. That's kind of fun. So I decided, I was like, all right, I'll talk about things that I haven't talked about yet. So you already know I have I think episode 1 was like a background on my life. A lot of things have changed since that episode, but me being in college and being interested in computers and what have you, that hasn't changed. But the things that you may not know about me. So I was just thinking like, okay, how can I present this information? And here's a couple things. I don't have a number because I'm totally just going off the cuff here. Number 1, I grew up in a bowling alley or a bowling center. So my parents owned a bowling center. My dad hates when we call it a bowling alley. So I grew up in a bowling center. My parents were both entrepreneurs. They owned their own business, the bowling center. They did parties. They did, obviously they had a bar. They had, they hosted events. They had a whole bowling alley, bowling center, what have you. They did food, everything. So if you think of a bowling center, that's what my parents, bowling center and party house, quote unquote. That was my parents' business. And that's what I grew up knowing. When I was not in middle school yet. I was in elementary school. I think I was in 4th grade. We moved from a house that my parents had owned since I was a baby. And my mom, I can't remember I think she there was something, I don't know how houses worked back then, but she had told me that she had saved up change, like coins. And I believe the down payment for the house was paid for in coins, like coins, like nickels and dimes. Anyway, backstory. So then when I was in, I believe it was 4th grade, we moved to live above the bowling center. It's because my dad never got to see us because he was working all the time. And I say us, my brother and I. I have a brother who's 3 years younger than me. So we moved above the bowling center and lived there for probably like 4 years, I think 3 years, 4 years. Anyway. And then randomly my dad was offered, like someone walked in and offered him money to sell the bowling center to them. And he knew that it was an offer that he couldn't refuse. And then we moved. So I grew up in a bowling center. For anyone who didn't know that, I bowled a lot, to the point where like when people are like, let's go bowling, I'm like, oh God, bowling. I was in a league. I was in multiple leagues. I bowled on Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning for my whole youth, I would say. I think I stopped when I was in high school because what ended up happening was Saturday mornings was basketball. We would have basketball practice on Saturdays, and I believe that's when I stopped. So that was probably like JV, 9th grade. But yeah, I bowled a lot, and it was one of those things where like my birthday parties were always at the bowling center for all my friends, and if my friends came over, we would walk downstairs and go bowling. Like I'm laughing because it's a pretty cool upbringing. Like it's very, very fun. It's very cool. But when you live in it for so long, it's like, oh, I didn't realize that's cool to some people. So Sarah, was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I wanted to share that. My other 2 things, I have 2 other fun things in my mind that I'm going to share. My other fun thing is that I played the alto sax in high school. So I was in band, I was in concert band, I was in jazz band. I was not the person who's like, give me a solo. So in jazz band, it was really tough because as a senior in jazz band, it's kind of like expected that you become this like soloist in jazz band. And so I was never the person who was like, give me the solo. I actually did not want the solo. I'm all set. So I liked playing the sax. I think it was fun. I actually really like music, and our band teacher was great. So he would let us choose songs to play. So like we played Pirates of the Caribbean. We played, very large pop songs. It was fun. Any song that he could get on music, like get music for concert band or for jazz band, he would get it. And it was like the coolest thing. So I played alto sax, and I also played French horn. which the French horn was kind of hard to play in fifth grade because it was such a massive instrument and I was such a small kid. So that case was very, very hard to carry. But, I couldn't have chosen like the freaking flute or something I could stuff in my backpack anyway. So yeah, the French horn and the alto sax. And then lastly, I think this is a pretty cool one. So I went to a high school and I graduated with 48 kids. So I'm from a very, very small town. And as a senior, I was on a volleyball team that was very, very good for our region. We made it to the sectional semifinals. We did lose to a team that was very much so better than us. But during that season, our volleyball coach gave us something to essentially not live by, but a mantra, if you will. And it came from the starfish story. So if you're not familiar with the starfish story, I will find it and link it in the show notes. But what it is it's essentially a story of a man who walks along the beach and he takes the starfish that he finds on the sand and puts them back in the water. And someone comes up to him and says, "Why are you wasting your time? There are so many starfish, you can't possibly save them all." And the man says, "I made a difference with that one." And so when it comes to team sports and, individual sports and business and personal life, our coach always had the starfish story as our mantra. And he would always say, there are a lot of points in a game, but we can make a difference with this one, right? So just to take a step back and realize that you have an effect by just taking a small step and making a difference one step at a time, 1 point at a time, one decision at a time, what have you. And it was something that really hit home for me. And that became something that I always came back to, whether it was, in high school, in college for sure. And then, now in adult life, I will think about it every once in a while. And like, that's something that really was, I don't want to say transformational, but pretty much transformational. Just because when you're younger, you don't always have an influential person outside of your immediate family that you have that teaches you something that sticks with you that long. So for my high school volleyball coach to have introduced myself and the team to such a transformational thing, I'm very grateful for that. So shout out to Mr. Witter, who never will probably listen to this podcast, but thank you so much, Mike Witter. You're the best. So yeah, check out the starfish story, read it. It's very short. But it is something that really does make a difference. And if you really sit down and think about it, you can apply it to anything. And it really just, it makes you feel good. It's like, yes, I can make a difference with this one. There may be, 1 million things that I could do, and there may be 1 million steps that I have to take in order to make something happen. And by just taking this one step, I make a huge difference. All right. That's it. I hope you learned something fun about me or enjoyed that. And if you have more questions, I'd love to hear them. I'm feeling like I could do like an Ask Me Anything episode potentially. I don't know. I don't know if people will submit questions, but we'll see. I'll toss it on Instagram and see what happens. So if you have questions after you heard that stuff, I'd love to hear them. If you learned something new, I'd also love to hear that. I like sharing things like that. I think it's fun. And I always love hearing it about other people. And when Sarah was so like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that about it," I was like, I should probably share that because I love to hear stuff like that about other people. So if you enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't, well, thanks so much for listening anyway. I really appreciate you. This episode was definitely squirrel brain. If you made it to the end, thank you once again so much. And next week, I may be touching on Zapier and how I am currently using Zapier in my business, along with the typical personal life, business, what have you, updates. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.